Submission part 2. Now, let's talk about how submission actually works. See, if you actually read the Word of God, man that's in any successful marriage, a marriage that's working, that man has to submit himself to God. Not to the woman. Man submits himself to God, like Adam did. That was God's design. Adam submitted himself to the direction of what God wanted him to do. Then when he created Eve, and all Eve had to do was submit herself to Adam. Eve didn't even have to submit herself to God. All she had to do was submit herself to her husband. The word doesn't say submit yourself to God, woman of God. It says submit to your husband. This is where the problem came. So, in the beginning, Eve submitted herself to her husband. Then she got off in the world, like most women do. And then get voices in their ear. And then the devil start yapping to Eve. Change the whole dynamic of what God had for his people. I'm just saying. So if Adam was submitted to God, all Eve had to do was submit herself to Adam, but she didn't. She chose the words and the advisement of the devil. Here we are today. This world would be an entirely different place if women had to submit themselves to God just like men did. I do not know why God did it this way. It is what it is. All I can do as a believer is follow what God says. But it seems evident to me why. You have a man that's already submitted to God. And just like we do in this world today, just like what's going on right now, women go out in this world and listen to snakes and change the whole dynamic of your family and your marriage based off a snake. And y'all worried about submission. Men, if you're not submitted to God fully, which is why this happened, Adam, this is why this happened. Because you wasn't fully submitted to God. We weren't fully submitted to God. And that's why we going through the stuff that we going through. But imagine if both of us practice submission. Man, you fully submitted yourself to God and what God wanted for you and your family and your wife. You loved your wife. You took care of her. You guarded her. You watched over her. You were with her every step of the way. Woman, you submitted yourself to your husband. You were with him every step of the way. You weren't listening to no stinks in the world. We'll be living in the Garden of Eden right now. But the fact that we all want to argue about being submissive, and the fact of the sad matter is, most of us are not even submitted to God. And that's why we going through this sad case in this world that we going through right now. But we worried about, I ain't gonna be submissive to him. fine. You don't have to be. But at the end of the day, there's a greater blessing for a couple. And let me repeat this one more time. When you get a man and a woman that truly love God and they trying to please God, they gonna be submissive. And those people are submissive. They face humility and all of that stuff. Their marriage will be blessed while we sitting our lonely selves out here being single, wishing we had somebody that we can be submissive with. Just a thought.